Introduction to Dark Web Research. The dark web represents one of the most misunderstood and misrepresented aspects of cybersecurity, yet for ethical hackers, it serves as an invaluable resource for threat intelligence, vulnerability research, and understanding emerging attack methodologies. While mainstream media often portrays the dark web as a lawless digital underworld exclusively for criminal activity, the reality is far more nuanced. Ethical hackers navigate these hidden networks for legitimate security purposes, gaining insights that help protect organizations from emerging threats. My journey into the dark web began as a curiosity about where stolen data ends up after breaches, but quickly evolved into a critical component of my defensive security strategy. By monitoring dark web marketplaces, hacker forums, and leak sites, I can track the sale of stolen credentials, zero-day exploits, and compromised infrastructure that might affect my clients, often identifying breaches before they're publicly disclosed. The dark web functions as an early warning system for cybersecurity professionals, with discussions in these hidden forums frequently revealing new attack vectors months before they appear in mainstream security bulletins. For instance, when ransomware groups first began adopting triple extortion tactics, combining data encryption, theft, and DDoS attacks, this strategy was openly discussed in dark web forums weeks before security firms officially documented it. This advance notice allows ethical hackers to prepare defenses and warn potential targets before attacks become widespread. Beyond threat intelligence, the dark web provides a unique window into the hacker mindset, revealing the tools, techniques, and motivations driving modern cybercrime. By observing how attackers communicate, what vulnerabilities they target, and how they price stolen data, I gain insights that help shape more effective defense strategies for the organizations I protect. One of the most valuable aspects of dark web monitoring is tracking the sale of stolen credentials and corporate access. Underground markets categorize and price compromised accounts based on industry, access level, and multi-factor authentication status, creating a disturbing but informative taxonomy of what attackers value most. Seeing which employee roles command premium prices, often system administrators and finance personnel, directly informs my recommendations for privileged access management and monitoring strategies. The dark web also serves as a testing ground for new attack tools before they're deployed in the wild. By obtaining and analyzing these tools from hacker forums, I can reverse engineer their functionality and develop detection methods before they're used against real targets. This proactive defense approach has allowed me to identify everything from novel phishing kits to sophisticated ransomware variants in their developmental stages. The dark web's role as a marketplace for zero-day vulnerabilities is particularly concerning, but monitoring these transactions helps ethical hackers anticipate which systems might soon be targeted. When I notice increased chatter about a specific software vulnerability, even if the details aren't publicly available, I can advise clients using that software to implement additional monitoring and prepare patches. Perhaps most importantly, the dark web reveals how attackers bypass security controls in real-world scenarios. Forum discussions often include detailed post-mortems of successful breaches, complete with the specific security products that were evaded and how. This intelligence is invaluable for validating whether an organization's security stack would withstand current attack methodologies. Operating on the dark web as an ethical hacker requires strict operational security measures to maintain anonymity while avoiding accidental engagement with illegal activities. I use dedicated hardware that's never touched my personal or work networks, booting from amnesic operating systems like Tails that leave no trace of activity. All connections route through multiple layers of encryption using the Tor network, with additional VPN safeguards to obscure my geographic location and prevent correlation attacks. My dark web research follows strict ethical guidelines. I never purchase illegal goods or services, but instead monitor publicly accessible forums and marketplaces where threat actors openly discuss their activities. When I encounter evidence of ongoing attacks against specific organizations, I follow responsible disclosure procedures through appropriate channels rather than engaging directly. The psychological aspect of dark web research shouldn't be underestimated. Immersing oneself in criminal communities, even as an observer, requires mental safeguards to avoid normalization of illegal activities. I maintain clear separation between my professional and research personas, carefully documenting all activities for legal protection and frequently stepping back to reassess the ethical implications of my work. This discipline is crucial when dealing with disturbing content that sometimes appears alongside cybersecurity discussions on these platforms. The intelligence gathered from dark web monitoring directly translates into more effective security strategies for my clients. When I identify a trend of attackers targeting a specific type of VPN vulnerability, I can prioritize patching those systems before they're exploited. Seeing which ransomware variants are being actively deployed helps shape more effective backup and recovery plans. Even the pricing of stolen data provides insights. When certain types of information suddenly increase in value, it often signals emerging attack vectors we need to defend against. One of my most significant successes came from monitoring dark web chatter about a new exploit chain targeting a widely used enterprise software. While the vendor hadn't yet released a patch, the detailed discussions allowed me to develop temporary mitigation strategies that protected my clients until an official fix was available. This ability to get inside the attacker's mind is what makes dark web research so valuable. By understanding how criminals think, what they value, and how they operate, I can build defenses that specifically counter their tactics rather than relying on generic security best practices. The dark web also reveals surprising connections between different threat actors, helping identify when apparently isolated incidents might be part of a larger campaign. Seeing the same attacker handles or tools appear across multiple breaches allows me to connect dots that would otherwise seem unrelated. Beyond threat intelligence, the dark web provides ethical hackers with access to communities and resources that simply don't exist on the surface web. Some of the most insightful technical discussions about vulnerability research occur in private dark web forums where security researchers, both ethical and otherwise, share findings too sensitive for public disclosure. While maintaining appropriate boundaries, I've gained valuable insights from these discussions that have helped me discover and responsibly disclose vulnerabilities in major software platforms. The dark web also hosts important whistleblower platforms and secure communication channels used by journalists and activists under oppressive regimes. Understanding how these legitimate users operate helps distinguish between malicious and ethical uses of dark web technologies. This broader perspective is crucial for avoiding the oversimplified view that all dark web activity is criminal. In my work training new ethical hackers, I emphasize this nuance. The same technologies that enable illegal markets also protect political dissidents and investigative journalists. Our goal isn't to condemn the dark web as a whole, but to understand its complexities while extracting the security intelligence that can help make the digital world safer. The ethical considerations surrounding dark web research are complex and constantly evolving. I maintain strict protocols to ensure my activities remain within legal and professional boundaries. Never accessing illegal content, never participating in criminal discussions beyond observation, and always reporting imminent threats through proper channels. This careful balancing act requires constant vigilance as the line between research and participation can sometimes blur in these environments. I document all research activities meticulously, maintaining detailed logs that could demonstrate the legitimate purpose of my access if ever questioned. When I encounter evidence of ongoing attacks against specific organizations, I follow established disclosure procedures rather than intervening directly, which could have unintended legal consequences. These safeguards protect both myself and the integrity of the information gathered. Maintaining clean hands ensures that any intelligence I obtain could potentially be used in legal proceedings if necessary. The ethical hacker's role isn't to act as law enforcement, but to gather information that helps organizations defend themselves while respecting legal boundaries. This distinction becomes particularly important when dealing with stolen data. While I might discover that a client's information appears in a dark web marketplace, I carefully avoid accessing the actual data itself, instead notifying the client so they can engage proper incident response procedures. Looking ahead, the dark web's role in cybersecurity will only grow as encryption and anonymity technologies become more sophisticated. Ethical hackers must develop the skills to operate safely in these environments while maintaining strict ethical standards. The intelligence advantage gained from dark web monitoring is simply too valuable to ignore in an era of increasingly sophisticated cyber threats. However, this work requires more than just technical skills. It demands strong ethical foundations, clear operational boundaries, and constant self-reflection about the implications of one's actions. For me, the dark web isn't about thrill-seeking or playing at being a spy. It's a critical source of threat intelligence that helps me protect organizations from harm. By understanding how attackers operate in their natural habitats, I can build more effective defenses, anticipate emerging threats, and ultimately make the digital ecosystem safer for everyone. This perspective transforms the dark web from a scary unknown into a valuable research tool, one that, when used responsibly, gives ethical hackers the upper hand in the ongoing battle against cybercrime. The key is approaching it with clear purpose, strong ethics, and constant awareness that the same technologies enabling our research can also cause real harm if misused. In this delicate balance lies the true value of the dark web for ethical hacking, not as a playground for curiosity, but as a strategic resource in the fight for better cybersecurity.